They're pretty unforgiving in the north. Like if you can't get the language right, they're not going to like take you. But in the south, if you can't get the language right, they're okay with having you be a part of a film. Calling it an item song doesn't make me feel like I'm an item number. Doesn't make me feel like you are objectifying me. Personally, there are so many movies that show empowerment of women. But how many people watch those movies? Most actresses. Our market values depend on the heroes we work with. Right. At the end of the day. So I hated the limelight being on me, like I didn't want people knowing what I was doing because I would be up to anything, like anything random, right?
This is Nawaz Kochra joining you on Indian Express, and we are here at IFA 2024. Joining us for a conversation is Regina Cassandra.
Hi Nawaz.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Very well. You know, Regina, today Indian cinema is in a very exciting space. The lines have almost blurred. Almost, it's literally not there anymore.
Finally.
And today as an actor, firstly, how do you feel being a part of this day and age? Very relevant today. And secondly, what are the challenges that come with this? The pan-India culture, I mean.
Oh man. The challenges per se, I'm very thankful and grateful to my mother because back in school, when we had the options of choosing our second language, she was like, you please learn Hindi. You're going to need it in this country. You can probably learn French, which was the other option, later in your life.
Yeah.
There's always that option of learning it, but please learn Hindi. You will really need it in this country. She didn't think I was going to become an actress, growing up, and it's going to be a career as such. But I'm so glad she made me learn Hindi. And I used to pass with flying colors, except I took Sanskrit in 11th and 12th. Yeah, I'm so glad I was able to learn a new language because it really helps. I know so many of my actress friends who from the South really struggle with the language. And I still do have a South accent, but I think that is the main barrier for someone coming from the South.
Yeah.
The language, because also in the North they do sync sound, and in the South we dub, and that's a huge difference in the way I mean, for me at least, it feels like a huge difference. I would rather sync sound than have to dub, and I think that is one of the biggest differences I would see, and in terms of barriers that you'd have to cross, because they're pretty unforgiving in the North. Like if you can't get the language right, they're not going to take you. But in the South, if you can't get the language right, they're okay with having you be a part of a film.
Yes.
And we've seen that over the years, and also the kind of films that are being made in the South, I think they're more rooted, and in the North, it's a lot more urban compared to what you see in the South. But as barriers as such, I don't think there's anything else, except when I started wanting to do work in the North, I was told that I'd have to live in Bombay and I'll have to be there to do meetings, and we don't do that in the South. There's no you network, but it's not like you meet people. We don't have casting agents in the South.
Yeah.
There's no concept of a casting agent. It's just managers, PROs, or now talent management companies, and that too from the North that have infiltrated, the corporates that have infiltrated the South market. It's a lot more of a competition when it comes to Hindi. That for me, it's not even I'm not willing to do or not willing to do. I didn't know how to do it, and I'm not that kind of person. I can't go sell myself per se. I can't go lobby for something. I always believed that if I was needed for a particular role, I'd do my best, and the max I would do is be able to audition for it and then convince the makers that I would fit this role. So those were the small little things that I can think of at the top of my head, when you say barriers as such.
So, Bollywood, as you just said that, you've never been somebody who would go and sell yourself for a project, for that matter. But Bollywood is also kind of very cutthroat in that sense. So, surviving in Bollywood, coming from another industry, at, some time back, there was a distinction that South industry, Bollywood may. So, at that time, coming into this industry, making your mark, was that very difficult, breaking through?
I understand, or rather I understood that it was needed of me to do that, but somehow it's not how I would operate.
Okay.
And a lot of people told me I'm not aggressive enough, like the rest of my competitors or my counterparts or whoever was in the industry with me at that time, who came into the industry with me at that time. So I made peace with it. So it was not about it being easy or difficult. It was about me making peace with the fact that if I don't do that, I'm not going to get that. And if I want to do that, I'm going to have to do it. But for me, it always felt like it was very forced. As a person itself, I'm not going to be able to approach anyone because, like, for instance, now if I want to do this interview with you, and let's say you're like this big journalist, and then and everyone wants to start, or everyone wants to get an interview with you. I'm not going to make names or anything. I'm just saying, right? Let's say I would never be able to come and talk to you just because I want to do this interview with you.
Right.
I would talk to you and we'd probably have a conversation, but it would never end up being about, oh, we should do an interview together. I feel like everything in my life needs to be organic. Otherwise, I'd never have importance for it.
Okay.
It would just be a use and throw sort of a situation, and I'm not that kind of person. So, and I believe that I would like organic relationships, even if it was work, So, it was not about, like I said, coming back to it was not about it being easy or difficult. It was just making peace with the fact that if you don't do this, you're not going to get that,
Yeah.
And I think that's when I also decided that if I'm not going to be able to do something, I'll have someone do it for me. So I have a team now, and I really like my management team, who go out and would probably lobby for me or probably this thing, and I just come down to do auditions and do my job basically, because I feel like at the end of the day I am just an actor. If the selling has to happen, I would rather have someone else do it.
How many years has it been for you, being an actor now? Like, when did you start?
So I actually started really young. I did ads,
Yeah.
a ton of ads. I started when I was 9. I anchored for a children's channel, regional children's channel. It's pretty famous in the South for a bit, amongst all the urban schools and the kids and stuff, the city kids. But I was 14 when I did my first Tamil film.
Okay.
I played the heroine's sister, and I got to play this girl who elopes and gets pregnant, and it's fun. Revati ma'am and I don't know if you know this actress Lakshmi. Just a pretty decent cast, and I had a female woman director as well. So that was my first stint with movies. And then
This was 2004 or 5, if I'm not wrong?
2005 it released. 2004
Yes.
we were shooting. Yeah, I was 14 then. So yeah, I mean,
20 years in films now. Yeah. Wow. How was life before that for Regina, before all this limelight and cameras and action happened?
I mean, I was 9 when I started. People would see me in ads, and I was always the famous kid in school.
Okay.
Hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say hated it, but I was like, oh my god, can you please? I was never one for the limelight. I hated the
Attention.
I hated the attention. Okay, because it just, I was the only kid. I'm the only kid at home, and anything good, bad, or ugly would just be on anything I did. And I was a tomboy of a kid, so I was constantly up to something or the other, like always. So my mom had a really tough time disciplining me. Really tough time. So I hated the limelight being on me, like I didn't want people knowing what I was doing, because I would be up to anything random, right? And but unfortunately or fortunately or whatever, it always used to be on me. And in fact, even in school, in the assembly, one of our the faculty in school, this man who everyone was scared of, his name is Rajan sir, very famous. He was in school, and we all thought he came from the military, army. I think he had some sort of army background. So he was like this strict officer, yeah, and he'd make us like sit in lines and stuff like that for assembly and stuff. And everyone would be sitting, and I'd be also sitting, and someone would be talking to me, or I'd be saying something, hey, Splash TV. And so the channel that I anchored for was called Splash Channel.
Okay.
So he'll yell from like from the end of the assembly saying, hey, Splash TV. tell everyone to keep quiet. I'm like, why me? Like, why can't you call out to anybody else, you know? So, I mean, it had its pros and cons. But I was always someone who liked to take up, you know, like at least do things. So I was also the school pupil leader in school. And at that time I had to choose. My principal called me and very categorically told me, listen, you know, we're thinking of nominating you for school pupil leader, but you'll also have to give up acting for that 1 year, because I was doing some films and all in the middle over there. And I said, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't want to do movies. I'm just doing it because it's the opportunity and it's fun, you know. But for sure. So then I was a school pupil leader, and yeah, it so happened that the limelight would like invariably come this side, and then I realized much later that it's easier to just do it than rather avoid it. And why avoid it? And then I realized, like, so many opportunities come my way, I might as well. And I'm someone who loves to do things. I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person, very adventurous person. I very rarely say no to experiences. Whether I know if I can do it or not do it also, I wouldn't know. So I wouldn't even think about it. I'd just like, yeah, I mean, it's a new experience, might as well just try it, you know.
But also being this strong in spirit is also, you know, probably one of the reasons that you also choose playing characters that are very strong on screen. Like, you know, characters which are women of substance.
I guess, I don't know. I think that would be like, you'd have to like, I mean, I'd have to pick my filmmakers' brains for that, because probably that's how they see me. Sometimes I think it's a bit of an issue, because when I want to be, not want to be, but when I feel like I just want to, like, you know, like just relax and not have to be this so-called strong person, or when I want to like really just break down and cry, or just like want to be like this damsel in distress, it's so difficult because no one thinks that it could ever be possible, right? So sometimes it's a bit of a negative. Like, I'm not always this strong, so-called strong person that people see or people think I am, but I guess that's how people perceive me, I guess. And that's why I get these kind of roles.
Also, you know, Regina, I want to know that, having been someone who has played such strong characters, you know, portrayal of women in cinema, how do you look at that?
Man, I have done Telugu films. I have just been dancing around trees, and in fact, I made my friends for life in college, and all my friends, and no one's from this industry at all, like they're so far away from it, and but they still encourage me, and they come watch my films, and watching my Telugu films with them is the funniest, because they love trashing me. So they're like, oh my god, look at you. I'm like, oh my god, you actually kissed that hero. Oh my god, how could you do it? What were you even thinking? You know, things like that, things that no one in the industry would even think of, right? Like, I mean, right? And it's so refreshing to have that take on what I'm doing and my work and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I love living that world, and I love getting out of that world as well.
But are you happy with, you know, the way women are being portrayed? You know, because there is an opinion that South industry is more male dominated, or, you know, male oriented cinema is more being made there.
In the South, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I should be very honest with you about this. In fact, when I did a song with Chiranjeevi Garu in his film, Acharya. It's called Sana Kashtam. And for ages now, the only way I would refer to a song like that would call it an item song. And I mean, I am for women, all for women, women empowerment. It's a movement. We need to do this. But man, calling it an item song doesn't make me feel like I'm an item number. Doesn't make me feel like you are objectifying me. Personally, I don't care. Now, true that the most number of views for such a song would be from men. But is it only movies that's the issue? Like, yeah, I agree. I wish there were more female directors who made movies and who made more impactful and probably portrayed women better, right? I get it. But I don't think I don't like taking things so seriously. Like I don't like taking cinema so seriously. It's art at the end of the day. It's something you watch. You don't like it, you don't like it. Like you go see a painting, you like it or you don't like it. You understand it or you don't understand it. I always think, and this even came up when Sandeep Reddy Vanga's Arjun Reddy had released.
Right.
I mean, and even Animal After, but when Arjun Reddy had released, people were like, oh, like what is this? How can you portray things like this? But you're watching the perspective of one person.
Right.
So why talk about cinema on the whole? You're watching the perspective of one person. There are people who like it, and there are mostly men. But if you actually go down south, it's not just a man or woman problem, it's just a society problem.
Okay.
It's how society has been perceived. These women don't know anything else. How are you going to change that?
Right.
By changing movies? Okay, there are so many movies that show empowerment of women, but how many people watch those movies?
Very true.
And how often are these movies commercial enough to get a family audience to watch it?
Right.
And honestly, at the end of the day, I love independent cinema. I love movies that are made differently, but the biggest part of our audience watches movies for entertainment. So if you're not going to make anything, even if it's a movie empowering women, if it's not entertaining enough, no one's going to watch it. I might watch it because I would love to see how it was made, the filmmaking process and this and that, and go into details about it, discuss it with friends, or but how many people do that? Right? So I was okay acting in Telugu, proper commercial Telugu films where the hero is saving me and then he's also troubling me, and irritating me. I was okay doing it.
Okay.
I'm playing a character. I'm playing a character. My songs are great in the film, and why not? Does that mean I associate myself to that person? No. Does it mean that I am encouraging people to be like that? No, I don't want to. But if you think that me playing that character feels like I'm encouraging people to do that, that's your problem. It's not my problem.
Right.
As an actor, I need to appeal to my audience. So I need to know who my audience is. And when I'm starting off doing films, I don't know who my audience is. I don't know what kind of films I want to do. I'm experimenting. I'm doing something for myself. You can't give me this burden of, you need to be like this responsible, you need to do this, you need to be like that, you need to donate these kind of films. I'm never going to get films in my life. Right? And it is true. It is very, very true. I think most actresses, our market values depend on the heroes we work with. Right. At the end of the day, because it's the heroes who bring in the market value. It's the heroes who have a market value. It's the heroes who are, would I like it to be different? Hell yes. I would love for it to be different, but it's so difficult for me to mount a film on my own shoulders.
Right.
And if I have to mount a film on my own shoulders today, it will max be 8 to 10 CR that I can mount on my own shoulders. For my producers to get to benefit. It is not just, there's so many aspects to this, right? My producers need to make money. The distributors need to make money. Everyone around, it's not just me. So how many actresses are able to mount a film on their shoulders and when in their career? Who's willing to actually bet on them, right?
True.
It's a lot of hard work. It's not just one thing. Again, would I like for it to be different? Yes. And I think from when I started off, in fact, I'm so happy now I don't get asked this question, thankfully. I mean, because it's been more than 5 years. But when I started off in 2011, I was doing interviews for my first Telugu film. In 2011 is when I actually decided, okay, you know what, let me give this field an opportunity to be a career. And that was when I did my first Telugu film in 2011. And when I went for interviews, man, they would ask me these. Back then itself, I thought it was some archaic question. Oh, what is your idea about the shelf life of actresses of being 5 years? And I'm like, I'm not a sorry, but that's my emotion. I'm not a packet of milk on a shelf for you to ask me what my shelf life is. Like,
Yes.
what are you even saying? And I didn't come from the industry, right? And I would never look up interviews of other actors and actresses. I never did that. Or who did what? How did they do this? Or how did they handle this? I was just me, and I would just say these things. And I'm like, you can't ask me that. I mean, like, okay, it shows me what your mentality and thinking is. So the kind of films that I'm doing are good enough for you. If you are going to ask me such questions, the films I'm doing are perfect for you. We'll do these films and we'll let you be happy. I'll also get my audience, right? So, yeah. So, finally those questions died down. Now no one talks about, an actress's shelf life is only 5 years. But you won't believe it. It used to be like a prominent question back then. So, I am seeing change. I am seeing, sort of an evolution happen. And I know it is slow, and I know it's going to be really slow. But to see actresses who have been married and come back and work, and I'm not talking about Bollywood, I'm talking about mainly the South, because it's so different down South. Women are
Yes.
perceived so differently down South. Finally breaking barriers. And it's taken them also a lot of time to do it.
True. And what is your take on women's safety, especially with regards to the movement that is going on in the Malayalam cinema right now?
I don't know. I haven't been a part of the Malayalam
Yes.
industry as much as I've been a part of the other industries in the South. So I don't know, what it is that these women have faced, and for whatever it is, like all the strength to them, because it's not easy to talk about it. But there are always not just two sides to a coin, man. There are many sides to this. You don't know who's doing what, saying what, how are they saying it, why are they saying it. And to sit on the outside over here for you and me to talk about it, sure, anyone can talk about any issue that's happening.
Absolutely.
And I'll have a different perspective as a woman because it'll hit differently. You'll have a different perspective as a man. But I don't want to comment about it.
Absolutely.
Unless I know what I'm talking about for sure. And if I had some information to share with you about it, I don't want to talk about it. Because tomorrow I don't want to be misquoted or judged or perceived differently. I need to protect myself, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Also, how is Vidaamuyarchi shaping up?
Vidaamuyarchi.
Vidaamuyarchi. Okay,
Perfect.
sorry.
Not
Vidaamuyarchi.
bad. That's good, not bad. It means persistence, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Shaping up pretty damn well. And I must say, I never knew Ajit sir before I did the film, and after I completed shoot for the film, everyone should meet that man. Like, he has the charm and charisma that no one I have seen has till date. Not saying that I've met everybody, and hence I'm just saying who I've met till date. He really made sure that film comes out. He's making sure that film comes out the way it has to come out. And Magil Tirumani, the director, also has done a fabulous job with the whole film. It looks really, really good. We shot it in Azerbaijan. Like, I think 90% of the film was shot in Azerbaijan. I'm so looking forward to it because it's an exciting role. And the makers of the film have actually taken that confidence in me to give me such a role, such a prominent role in such a big film. And I'm excited. I am so excited for the film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, you have 2 releases in 2025 in Bollywood as well?
Yeah. So this is one called Section 108. I'm hoping it releases in 2025 with Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
Yes.
There's another one I really want to talk about, but I can't.
It's called Jat, if I'm not wrong, but...
No.
Okay.
No, that's another one, I'll tell you. That's the third one. There's one that I want to talk about, but I can't right now. I wish they soon talk about it. The other one is with... so this Telugu director, Gopichand Malini, and he's doing his debut in Hindi with Sunny Deol. Yeah. So again, a really, really prominent role. So it's Sunny Deol, Sayami Kher, Randeep Huda, and me. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the third one that you can as of now not talk about. We hope to hear about it soon.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I still have maybe a couple of days of shoot left for it, but I think they're shaping up really well. Maybe when I come back to Bombay and actually shoot for it, I'll be able to see some rushes, so I know what it looks like. But it's a very like you saw me in Rocket Boys with
Yes.
being Mrinal and Sarabhai. It's a very homely, similarly homely character as well. So yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, not talking about it anymore.
Well, thank you so much.